what's going on? Welcome to Orlando. You know what time it is, man. 7 p.m. We're a little off tonight. It's all good. You know what time it is? It is time for the Sound of Orlando show. And if you are liking what's going on, please like and follow, share, share, share. Let me see y'all up in the comments. Tonight is a very important night. I got one of my favorite people in the world. We came up together, started at the very beginning together. She was there for all of our big moments. And, this girl has been lighting the world on fire, man. She came out of Orlando with like a fire directly under her behind. She was nonstop. She was just doing her thing. And next thing I know, she's running one of the largest radio markets in the world. And I remember we were just playing, laughing, doing what we wanted to do when we were kids. But then all of a sudden, she grows up and blossoms into this person that is just completely and utterly amazing. She is my sister. I'm proud to know her as a friend, but I'm also in awe of the things that she's done in her life, man. And so we cannot tell the story of Orlando without telling hers. So, right about now, without further ado, let me bring on my sister, representing Old Town Sound. Let's go. Give it up for Jill Strada. Let's go, mama.
Hey, yo, Rom, I'm bringing you everywhere I go for that type of introduction. I love it. Yo, thank you, my man. Thank
Oh,
you.
my God, bro. What an honor and a privilege to have you on tonight, man. Because like I
Oh,
said, the main goal of this show is for our people to have a place to not only tell our stories, but to hear our stories in a
yeah, man.
celebratory way. Because for a lot of people, Orlando has been overlooked, undersold, and nobody's discussed all the great things and great people that have not only came here for 10 minutes or grew up here their entire lives, but went on to do great things. We need
Mhm.
a place where we can give our flowers while people are alive, man. And this is that moment. 2020 is that moment.
Yo, I love it. I love what you're doing. I love the whole everything about it. Seriously. I mean, one, it's an honor to just join you on the show. Rome, like, first of all, you're Romeo to me still, but I'm like, I'm gonna try to, DJ Rome it up for you. But listen, we go so far back, like way back when hip hop wasn't even on radio at that time. I mean, we were on
Right,
like Third Street Station. You were spitting rhymes. We had
right.
Ricky, who is DJ 7 Days,
Shout out
and
to
it was like the
Ricky
whole crew.
Days. Let's go.
Yes, and I was
He's
just a
on.
little
He's on
jit.
too. Say big up. He's on too. He's watching.
Yes, hey Rick. Yes, yes,
Yeah, but
I
talk
love
about it.
it.
Continue.
Huh?
You talk about it. Continue what you were saying.
So listen, so with the way we go back, I just remember standing around in the little ciphers in the little corner on Church Street, and just everyone doing our thing. It was just such a. I think I wore like baggy clothes. I looked like a box because that was the style back in the day.
Right.
So look, it was amazing. I think that it's like watching you guys. You guys are like my big, like homies. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And except I
Right.
had a crush on Ricky. I'm putting it on blast. Y'all remember that? For like, I was in high school. Everybody had a crush on Ricky when it came to Lyman High School. Shout out Lyman High School.
Shout
Um,
out Lyman High School, man. Yeah.
yes, yes,
All
yes, for real,
Altamont massive. Hold tight, man. Altamont was the place to be for a lot of our
for
lives
real.
moment. And
Yes,
yes, you guys were inseparable for a long period of time. Every time I
yeah.
would go over there, I was like, damn, girl, did you leave?
Nope.
It was
No, we had our little squad, but I fell in love with
yeah,
music. I mean, I love, you guys introduced me almost. I remember riding that whatever car he had, and it was like that loud
homegrown.
ass system. Yo, that system was crazy. I remember he had like a crush on, who was it? Like Paula Abdul, who was like, whatever. But he was into straight up, just all type of hip hop, and just he introduced me to a lot. You guys did, and
Right.
that's just kind of where it took off. And I loved it. I thought, Keisha, shout out Keisha. She's on here. She remembers because she was in Lyman High School with us. But
Yep.
but yeah, I mean, that was like the introduction, and I love music so much. So just different variety. I'm super versatile, but this was, like I said, I had when you hit me to do this show, I'm like, got to be where I start because that's exactly where it was for me. I learned a lot just on my come up as just a youth.
Now I want to touch on that real quick because shout out to Rick again, 7 days, Ricky. Uh, you know, he reminded me of something that was completely like I said, there's so much that went on in our on our youths and us
Yeah.
starting out. But he reminded me of this moment, and I was like, yeah, come to find out, that is right. He said back in the days, you were so wanting to interview us. Like you would be
I
like
did.
writing out these like things, like you'd say, okay, this is what we need to do, and then you'd be like, okay,
Yep.
I'm going to ask you guys this, and you were always, and I remember that, and we were laughing about it because funny how the tables turn. Right now, I'm interviewing you,
Yo.
right?
Listen, I did interviews. I was like, I had my stuff prepared. I mean, I interviewed him. I remember being on the phone and like writing down his answers. Like, where was I writing this? Who knows? But I loved it. And honestly, I had no idea that I would love radio. I didn't have any intention of even falling into radio. And I just, when like, I started an internship when I was in school. And shout
Yeah,
out to Jay Love because Jay Love was at 102 Jams at the time. We had Big Lou. Shout out Big Lou because Big Lou was out there and holding things down. So 102 Jams was like the new station. It was a vibe, and we were hearing songs that we hadn't heard and music we hadn't heard. And so of course I love music. So I was like, I love this. But I was when I was in college, I was an undecided major, and my friends were at the radio station. So I was like, all right, I'll do an internship. And then at 102 Jams, it was during I remember like Thanksgiving holiday, whatever. So it must have been like fall semester. And so we fed the homeless, and that's that day. I mean, Richie and Ray, Babalu Bad Boy, shout out. Rest in peace to Bartel. But like that whole squad, we were out there, and me as an intern, I fell in love with it because we were feeding homeless people, and I was like, listen, I thought I could save the world, so I was initially going to be like in the medical field, thinking I could do something amazing. But when we did that, that really talked to me about radio and the significance of radio from a community perspective. And that was it. I fell in love with it and worked my way all the way from that internship up. So
right.
never stopped.
Well, before we go to those big things, man, before we
Hmm.
go to the meat and potatoes, let's take it back. Let's
Okay,
go
let's go.
way back. Now let's talk about Orlando and
Yeah.
exactly how did you come into uh, hearing hip hop, hearing hearing
Hmm.
hearing urban radio, and then translate that into how you met us, and then
Mm.
take us through that timeline, that time
Okay.
period. Give me a year or two if you can, without.
Yeah, I mean, God, I don't know. Like, it was 90s, and I mean, I remember just being a kid that just again loved all type of music. And
Right,
so when I was on my come up, I hadn't heard hip hop besides, I mean, you hear the same like Salt and Pepper. You're hearing like back in the day, some of the stuff that was around on radio, but not, it wasn't popping like that. And so Rick and I think you guys were the ones that introduced me to Public Enemy. I think NWA, like all that vibe was then. And so I was rocking with you guys, and of course the bass music. I just remember, I can't even remember the songs. Some of the songs, I mean, it was obviously Rick had the boom in his car, so whatever was booming, we were listening to on the hip
right,
hop tip,
right.
and so that was it. I mean, I just remember coming up that way. Obviously, Miami bass. I mean, it was all of it. We were listening to all of it, and so if my memory serves me correct, I think we were that versatile when I was introduced to it through you guys, and obviously, you guys had your thing. I mean, Rob, you were trying to like you were an artist, and like I said, like learning things through you and seeing how you were so passionate about what you had, going on at the time, and Rick just being the DJ and like, just seeing that whole thing. I remember the machines, like the production machines. I cannot even remember off the top of my head, but it was the it was one of the biggest production machines that was like, oh shit, he got that production machine, you know. So it was just like the beat maker or whatever that was. And so just
Right.
watching you guys playing on that, you know, and creating and all that, it just like it was exactly where, I mean, I loved it. My heart was like in it, you know. And
Right.
so and that took me into, I mean, that just kind of expanded my everything. So
Right.
in high school things got, you know, I just started expanding my world. I think, you know, my parents probably didn't love it too much because around 16, that's when I just like, I actually lived on my own for a while. And I think that's when I just, you know, I was really independent, but I was really responsible. So I never, you know, I didn't want to screw things up. Like I wanted to, you know, be in school, do school, you know, the right way. And you know, and so like I graduated, it was out of Lyman High School. Then I went to Rollins College. And so throughout my years in school, I just kept expanding my music, you know, my music knowledge. And like I said, really, because I was young in the game when I got in to the internship. So once that internship happened, I mean, I was, you know, I was just loving it. It took care of my entire social life. So talk about like being in the right place at the right time. I mean, this is when like I remember Outcast on the come up, and we would be at like JJ Whispers, if you guys remember that, and then it turned into different
Right.
names. But it was like being at JJ Whispers at the time, and it's like, you know, they were backstage, and you know, just that was Outcast, you know what I mean? Like, you
Right.
know, and just all of those guys, you know, in their early careers on the come up. That's when I was. I mean, I remember Nas at JJ Whispers. Like, I'm a huge Nas fan, but you know, it
Right.
started from back then. And then we had the was it called what, Breakfast Club, or what was it,
Yeah.
the
Breakfast
all
Club.
night spot?
Yes.
You know, that was the all night spot. Now I was 16, slipping in there, you know, a little late. You know, I mean, but I had my friends. I think Big Lou was working the door. Shout out to
Right.
Dread. I don't know what happened to Dread, but you know,
Right.
I mean, you know, he was there. You know, that whole crew. So it was like, I don't know. We just kept, you know, it just seemed like when I fell into the internship into radio, it's like my life just, it just kind of went the right way because it was so natural to go in that direction.
Right. And then you also bring me back to that moment that we started at Party like at the same time. Party 95.3.
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Shout out to Party
That's
95.
crazy. Yes.
And we started there, and I remember we started throwing out the T-shirts and stuff. And I'm gonna keep it 100. I was
Yes.
like, you know, we're working on our group, we're trying to get our stuff out, and I was like, man, I'm not with this shirt shit and flyer shit.
Yeah.
And you know, in hindsight, that might not have been the right decision, but um,
No, you were doing you, man. That's
right, right. But it was amazing because, like I said, for me, that was the time period where I got to watch you set up yet another situation, and
right.
from there, you like were a rocket ship. Oh, shout out to Jeremiah
Yeah.
for a second. Jeremiah is on
Oh
the check
wow.
in. You remember Jeremiah and Terrell?
Yes. What's up, man? Yes, of course.
Yeah,
Wow.
Big Blues on the check in.
Yo.
Shout
Is
out
Big
to
Lou
Big
on? Oh, yo,
Blue.
Lou, I've been shouting you out, man. I've been shouting you out. That's
Yes,
right. Lou did. He held down that door. I'm telling you, I was underage. He knew I was underage. And I was like, yo, Lou, like, because there was a teen party beforehand. Then they would close the doors and then they would do the late night. And I was like, yo, Lou, like, and I just loved to dance. I wasn't even like a drinker. I didn't do drugs. I wasn't into any of it. I just loved to dance. And so I would
right,
be out there on the dance floor hanging out. So I guess because I didn't cause any problems, but Lou and Dred, I just remember the two of them like holding down Breakfast Club for us. So yeah, that
right.
was definitely, yeah, that was good time.
And you know, I can testify that you know you because we never held back with you. We were like, check this out. Boom. You know, we were
Yeah.
playing most rawest, you know, hardcore. And but I knew the excitement on your face, even at an early age, was
Hmm.
just incredible because you were just blown away as we were in the
Yeah, yeah.
music, hip hop culture. So to me, it was like a natural thing to. We always just wanted to either be a part of the music, in the music, or just
Yep.
somewhere where everything was happening. And
Hmm.
um, like I said, Party began your uptick.
Right.
Talk
So
about
that was my, yeah, that was my first full time gig. So and shout
right,
out Nicole, I got my girl. She goes by Nikki Montana down here in Miami. But she honestly, when I tell her, she's I relate, like she's similar to who I was back during this time I'm about to talk about. She has super passion and all that, but she's promotion director down there. So I was in marketing, and and I did on air, and I did stuff like that back then. And when I had the opportunity, because my heart, I loved 102 Jams, but they wouldn't. There was no full time gig, and at the time radio was doing its like merging. So I don't know if you remember, but 102 Jams and like XL, they were, it was Y100 back then it turned to XL. They merged together and all that. So when all that was happening, I was super loyal until they just were like, they didn't have a full time gig, and then that's when Cox Media Group started this hybrid radio station called Party 95.3. And at Party, it was like beyond its time. I mean, before its time, I should say, because they
That's where
had like
radio is now.
right,
It's
right,
crazy
yes,
because
right,
it's like an experiment, and it
yeah.
wound up going there anyway.
100% it did. And so we were playing, I mean, we were playing like the dance, the EDM stuff, plus hip hop, plus just whatever was popping. It was this melting pot of hit music. And so we had like Tiesto, Paul Oakenfold, all these guys that are like huge in the dance music scene way before EDM was popping on any platform, including like Sirius XM, any terrestrial radio. I mean, we were one of the forerunners of that. And so when I had the opportunity to go full time, and I went for it. I was like, it was hard leaving my family that I came up with, but sometimes you got to just make those moves. Excuse me. And that was the best move I made, because a lot of times people get stuck, or they're terrified to move and do the next thing. So if you're feeling like you're stuck, and it's like, well, what do we do? It's like, I definitely made that switch. It was hard, but I was so excited about it because it was my first full time gig. By the way, I will tell you, I don't know how many people I've told this to, but I'll tell you this. I was going for the assistant to the marketing director gig because, I mean, I was doing a lot at, at the other station at that time, but I just was like, I'm not a marketing director. Like, come on now. But I went for this gig, and I guess they didn't know what I was going for. So I just said, promotions, whatever. I got the marketing and promotion director job, and I was so excited. But I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I had to learn how to, like, yeah, that's right, Lou, we were killing the streets. They don't even, I try to tell my teens now what they just don't even know. But I got the gig, and I was like, how did I get this director gig? And I had just gotten, like, I was at Rollins at the time. So I was supposed to go to day school, so I had to switch that over, go to night school, and then just become a full time, marketing promotion director. Loved it. I mean, so I got to start a radio station from the promotion and marketing, like the branding perspective, which means, developing a logo, just developing all of it. You know what I mean? So any of the
Right,
swag
right.
that we were passing out, the shirts and all that, just anything, I was doing all that. And so really, it was just like this amazing opportunity that allowed me to grow and understand the back end of radio. And at the time, I was on air, so I was kind of like off at Jams. I was on air at Party. I was on air, and back then it's not at all this way, now. But back then they were like, "Yo, you got to choose. Like, you can't really be on air and marketing and promotion director, and you can't have all these hats or whatever." So I was like, at the time, I was just like, "Let me do back of the scenes," because behind the scenes, I want to learn the business of it. I wanted to learn, everything that I could learn to just be in it. Like, I was like, I don't want to move cities. Like, I was thinking, if I'm not on air, then I'll be, more prone to just be like here in Orlando. Because at the time, I couldn't even see beyond. Yeah, Lady J. I was Lady J on air, and I couldn't see beyond, beyond it. And so I did behind the scenes, and then as I was doing that, so Party at we rocked for a minute. I mean, Party was a dope station, but I think because it was so ahead of its time, I think that we had to compete, and we had two major competitors, mind you. Party 95.3 had a 3,000-watt signal. To give you some understanding of this,
Wow.
it was 100,000 watts. Like Jams in Y100 or XL at that time, they had 100,000 watts. We
Right.
only had 3,000 watts. So we were able to, through FCC, we finally, filed, and we got to 25,000 watts. But because Florida is flat, we were able to cover the metro. But we were like the station that wasn't supposed to be number one. And we just were like, we were always so hungry and super passionate. Shout out Ray, what up? And then, and then it was like, we just, we flipped the station. So in that time period that Party went to power, I'll take you through some of that. So I was marketing and promotion director, and then our music director, Dick Latino, he had left. And so that spot was open. And I was like, yo, I love music. Like, let me hold down marketing and promotion director, and I'll be the music director. And if I mess up on the marketing and promotion side any which way, y'all just, take the title away. They weren't paying me any more money. I was just doing it. I was learning it, getting into the game. And
Right.
so that's how I did it. I had like the longest ass titles, Rome. Like it was like I was marketing and promotion director and music director. Then I took on APD, so that's assistant program director. So my title was marketing and promotion director, a music director, and assistant program director. It was like, oh my, I should have. I hopefully I have a business card that says all that because it was a crazy card.
That
But
is completely nuts.
yes, yes.
Completely nuts.
But it was an amazing time because during that time, so what I got to do was be both, and I love like marketing and
Let me stop
promotions.
you real
Like,
quick. Let me stop you real
oh yeah,
quick. We got an alert. We got an
oh
alert.
oh
Marielle is on the check-in.
yeah,
Shout out
Marielle. Oh
to
my God,
Marielle.
yo. I know that she's grown, and I know Marielle is like young lady and everything, but she's little Marielle to me, and I have pictures, and I will show them on a Throwback Thursday one day, girl. But no, shout out Marielle. That's dope.
Yes. So continue.
Yeah, basically it was hold on, I think the car is coming up. So basically the APD led me to want to be a program director, okay? And so, I basically I wanted to, I guess, take on like the full responsibility of the blueprint, I call it. When you're a program director, you just cover the blueprint of a radio station. So everything from midnight to 11:59, from the music to what the jocks are talking about, the promotions on the station, that's ultimately your responsibility. So I'm
Right.
like, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. And so we had an opening, and I was trying to go for it, and I did not get it. I was like, I wanted to be the program director for Party, and so I went for it, didn't get it, but we had an amazing program director come in, and I told my team at the time, not that like Rich Reese was one of the big first mentors that I had, I think, in the game. He was our market manager at Cox Media Group, and so Rich, he just, like I said, I can go on and on about how amazing this guy was. And Phil Michaels, who is actually down in Miami with me, he was the program director at in the beginning of Party, but then it went to to others. And when the gig came up, I was like, if you can't bring somebody in that is going to be able to do more than I can do, like let me learn from somebody, I'm totally down. I'll totally be down for it. And they did. They brought in a guy. His name is Phil Becker. So shout out Phil Becker. One of the best program directors to this day. He's somebody I hold super like in high regard. He's running, his whole. He's running. He owns stations. He's running stations. He's doing his thing with Alpha Media, but he's an amazing guy. He came in for a year, basically. I think it was a year, maybe two. I can't remember now. My brain. But he came in, and I learned so much, and we had so much fun, just rocking and doing the station. But the best thing was, before he got there was nobody as a program director. So I was the acting program director for quite some time. And so I was the one that actually flipped the station from Party to Power as a program director.
Right.
So that's a huge deal. Like being a young marketing and now programming professional in the game, and being able to
Right.
do that, and because of the structure and the strategy that and research strategy that Cox Media Group just has in place. It's one of the most regarded media companies in our industry still to this day, because
Right.
of some of the ways that we handle things. And so I learned a hell of a lot during that time. And being able to, that was in 2014 that we flipped from Party to Power. And it was incredible. It was like I had such an amazing, incredible staff that was on board, and so that I was able to do that, but I did not get the program director gig. Bill came in, and he was amazing. I learned so much from him. He left, and when he left, it was '05, I believe, if I'm correct. Yep, and I got it. I got the gig, and so it was just so incredible. Like what I went through, with all of that in that station. And then, when I was program director, I was just like determined to take the station that everybody was like, the station is not going to make it against these other heritage. Like you're going to be a number two to one of these other stations, but you can't be number one. Um, But yo, I was like determined, and so at the time, so a lot of my interns ended up being like on air talent. So shout out like Obi and Little Sean, they were our, they were mornings. Esty Martin, who's now in mornings, and she's a program director at Exodus in Orlando right now. She was my intern. She was, like in promotions with me, grew her way up. But all these people like that we came up with, we did it together, because without the team, and to this day, Rome, I'm saying it's like, if I have the right team, anything is possible, like 100%. Like, because my hustle is there, so if my team can match that hustle, we got it. And so we would
Right.
just, we had the right team. I mean, even at party, I mean, you said like we were throwing out shirts. I mean, I did illegal
Everywhere.
shit.
We were
We
everywhere for a little
we bannered the city up. Like, we were out at night, midnight. We'd be out there like, tagging up the streets with our logos, just period. So when people woke up
while.
in the morning, they saw our logo. It was just like, it was that kind of hustle, that kind of run. You know what I mean? It
Well,
was crazy.
you epitomize the word hustle because once again, when we talk about Orlando, uh, most of the time people do they practice, they spar, and then they go play at the big fight.
Yeah.
Talk about going into New York City and then
Yo,
taking over that
yeah.
market. Like what did that look like for you? Did you ever think that that was even
I don't know. It was crazy because, so that was in '07. So what happened was, I had promised my team. I was like, yo, I'm not going nowhere. Like, they had started hearing about some things, like early, I think in the year, I started getting like the heads up. Hey, are you interested? Would you want to do this? And so I started talking to them, and sorry, I'm raspy, by the way. I have like this cold. Anyway, but I started talking to them, and then I was like, I actually turned it down because it wasn't. Look, I was moving to New York. I didn't have people up there at that time. You know what I mean? I had friends, but I had recently lost my dad. So my family was going through stuff. I'm like, this has to be like the right move in order for me to like make sure I'm going to do it. So I started talking to them, and and my team had heard, and I said to my team, I'm like, listen, I can't go anywhere until we hit number one. We were so close. And then, when I had turned down the gig, I was like, listen, I need to make more money, or whatever it was at that time, whatever the negotiation. But and then it was, some period passed or whatever. It was like maybe, just week, 2 weeks, whatever. And it was like, we hit number one, like in a major book. I think it was our spring book, and it was like, which means like back when, before we were using this new method of rating system, which is called PPM. We used to call our rating system the diary system, and so we hit number one, and that was the first time we ever hit number one. And I think I remember Obi and Lil Sean coming in my office. I remember we were crying because I knew at that time, and I think they knew at that time. All right, like I was still in negotiation. It's like, yo, like I felt like that from a spiritual perspective. I was like, yo, that was it. Because I just said, like, I can't leave. I've done so much work on this station. I can't leave until we hit number one, because we're going to do it. And then
right,
we did it. And it was like, oh my God, I'm about to go to New York. I knew it that day. I think they knew it that day. But it was such a celebration, because it was like the station that wasn't supposed to do that. And
right.
then yeah, I took the gig. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go. So I moved to New York. So Ebro, who is just another, like I said, he's one of my greatest. We have a great friendship. I mean, he I guess was interviewing. I don't know who else he was interviewing. I just know we fit. Like, it was just, even during the interview process, it was just cool. It was like I felt like, all right, this is cool. I got this. So I was the APD MD. So that's the assistant program director and music director for Hot 97, and I made that move, and that was amazing. I mean, are you kidding? I think on my
Wait,
first
wait, wait,
day,
wait, 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 wait. Just stop right
like,
there. Just stop right
yeah,
there. Let's take a moment and let that breathe, okay?
let's sit with it for a minute.
Let's just sit right there with that. We'll be right back. Hey, yo.
Breaking news never stops. Turn this motherfucking sound up, man. Blast this is turn the whole this up.
Where did you go? At 97, the
Yes,
center of hip hop. And what
yo,
year
for real.
was this? Tell these people what year was that?
Yo, this was in the spring of '07, and I was
Oh my
like, I took
God.
my ass in a U-Haul truck to Hot 97. Yeah, it was great.
Yes.
Yes,
That's what we
yes.
call Old Town Sound. Let's go. Keep going, Mama. Talk about it.
Yo, so it was like I said, we hit the number one. I was ecstatic. I packed everything. I move up there, and my first day. I mean, I believe it was the first day, and I get to see two amazing. One of my favorites. I saw Common and Kanye West in the building. We're just like, I'm like, okay, so this is life. Like I'm a hip hop head, so I'm like, wow, like this is just it's that's New York life. You know what I'm saying? It's different, obviously, than Orlando. You're not going to see something like that, but these people, they live here, they're working here. This is what's going on. So just to see that vibe and that energy set me off. I was just like ecstatic. I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. I loved it. And New York is a hustle, and I think everyone thinks I'm from New York. I was actually born in Chicago and raised in Orlando, but I got my hustle on in New York, and I feel like I guess my personality fits that city. I love that city. It's like home. When I go there, it feels like home. So
Right.
yeah, so I just went. Ebro was an amazing person to be with. He's super creative, amazing programmer, and I feel like we were the right team at that time because it was, we had just synergy. I mean, it was, there was we had a competitor that entered that market, before me, and they were, having to deal with, that, and I love competition, so it was just on, but I have so many amazing memories from just being in that market. The radio game, was incredible. Just being able to learn, and build my professional, just my strategy, that ultimately became like my programming philosophies. Were really built there and really honed in there because I was able to just lock in and do some really great things with some really great people. So you have, my afternoon girl is Angie Martinez, and Flex is at night, and at the time it was Miss Jones and Envy, who he's now Breakfast Club Envy, but he was part of the crew, and we just had an amazing group of people. The DJs were hustlers. Like it was such a great experience with those guys. And when I went there, again, coming from Orlando and starting a new station like Party and then Power, it's like I was with younger talent. So it's different. You have younger talent, they're green, they don't know as much. But moving up to New York, working with seasoned talent, I respected them so much because they were super humble. Like, I mean, it's work, so we do what we do, but them, like, really just like respecting it. Like I came in, they didn't know me, whatever, but it was a team. Like we really were a team that just, we were fighting a battle up there as well. And so shout out to everybody. Still, if I go, what I love is in all the cities I've been to, I can go. If I go to Orlando, I just was in Orlando not too long ago, and I heard, like Ricky doing his thing with DJ Nasty at night on Star, and they're like, I'm giving a shout out. I'm like, I love them. And then I hear, if I go to New York, I do the same thing, and I'll get, like, it's my team. Look, I'm Italian. Once you're in, you can't get out. That's what I always say to everybody. So they're my people. They're my people for life. You cannot get out. I don't give a shit. So it's my
Talk
people
your
for
shit,
life.
Mama. Talk your shit. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Um, you
No.
know, so you travel to Boston, you set up shop there, and then you come back to technically home. You go to Miami.
Yeah, yeah,
Talk
yeah,
about some of the things that you are currently doing in Miami, which to me, when I came back from Kansas City, when I moved back, when I left, Miami looked like the Miami I always known. When I came
yeah,
back,
yeah.
this place looks like another planet. It looks like Atlanta dropped it
Yo.
down there. It's just
Hmm.
huge. So talk about how that Miami market is and some of the things that you're doing down there. Because now you're
For
running
sure.
like several stations, right?
Yeah, so well, right. So what happened? Well, I went from so in New York, I was at Hot 97, and 2 years later, I also took on the PD gig at Kiss FM, which is another legendary station. So I got to shout that out because that's where.
98.7 Kiss.
Yes, yes. Not so. I was the APD MD at Hot 97, and then I was the program director of Kiss FM at the same time. And I mean, I have to shout out Kiss because again, that is another amazing, legendary group of people that I worked with. We celebrated 30 years of that station when I was there. It was it's just an incredible group. I mean, that was the time where I got to say I was in my office and like Shaka Khan comes in and like I got to sit with Quincy Jones and just vibe and talk, just talk in my office with Quincy Jones. Like, hello, you think I would have taken pictures of this stuff? Like, I just was, I was living in the moment so 100% and just
Oh,
appreciative. So
and you just dropped some bombs right there too, man. Shout out to that because me and Rick we joke about this all the time. There's no photos. Like we never took photos
I
of these
know,
incredible moments in our lives. And if we had the cell phone back then, man, it would
I
have been a
know. Listen, I do have photos of us. I love. I'm a photographer too. Okay, I love pictures. I'm really not a photographer,
girl.
but I love pictures.
Don't you say that. You got
I'm
photos
gonna.
of us?
I'm going to go back. I have photo albums,
Please,
and I'm going to show you pictures of us.
please,
I
please.
have them.
I would
Yes,
love to
yes.
see it. Love to
But we
see it.
should have taken more because I'm telling you, what I have doesn't even describe what we did and who we were back then. I'm telling you, real
Right,
talk. But yeah, I think we were just living the moment, man. And it's like sometimes I still do that to this day. It's like I love pictures. I love, I'll IG live or I'll post on the story or I'll do my. But it's like, yo, living in the moment sometimes is just everything. And so
right,
so I did. I mean, and I just like I said, I couldn't skip over Kiss because that was like, yo, that was like just sitting. We did like a stoop shot in Harlem that was done years before we kind of recreated that stoop shot in Harlem with the Kiss crew, and it's just that it was just an incredible time. I got that crew, much respect to all of them. So Lenny Green, ironically, Lenny Green was my night guy there. Lenny Green is down in Miami with us now at Hot 105. So
wow,
and another amazing crew. I took a 1 year and when I left New York, I actually left New York to come to Miami, and I was at Power 96 for 1 year. And after 1 year, I went to Boston, and that's so my
and you're
Boston.
talking about the infamous
Yeah,
Hot
yeah,
Wheels. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
I remember going to Miami as a youth, and that would be the first station I would cut on to listen to the sound of
yeah.
Miami. It
I'm
just
telling you.
that station was everything to me back in the day.
I love but for me back in the day when we were growing up, Power 96 and Hot 97 were my two like I loved them, and I was like, these are my two stations, these are my two favorite markets. And so, Rome, for me to be like, I feel so blessed, beyond blessed. I worked in my two like I'm in my favorite market now. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
in New York's my other like give me those two and I'm good. I love them.
right,
And to be at those two stations that I grew up loving. Different musical sounds, but loved it. And
right.
so yeah, I went down there to I was there for a year. I was at Power 96, and like I said, I loved it. Another legendary station, great staff, great people. After Power 96, I moved to Boston, and I started. This is the first rhythm AC station I started, Hot 96.9, with Cadillac Jack, who. So the story behind that, Cadillac is another amazing program director. He actually started the Breakfast Club in New York. So when I was in New York, Cadillac was my competition. So he was at Power. He was the program director of Power in New York, and he had, like I said, he created the Breakfast Club at the time, and so we never really vibed. I mean, up in New York because we were competition, but we knew of each other, had mad respect of each other, and so when he gave me the call, like, yo, you consider doing, starting up the station with me, it was like I said, an honor. Again, Boston, I love it. Another amazing group of people up there that I got to, meet and just spend some time with. And so when that opportunity happened, it was just another format that I had never really been a part of. I mean, it's similar, but it's like, Rhythm AC. So it was new. I went to Boston. It was like a year, I guess. It was a year because when 1 year later, it was like February of say 13, if I'm not mistaken. It was February of 2013, and then February of 2014, and it's so crazy because it's almost like Cadillac called it. He said, do it for a year. And he's like, and then if you want to stay in Boston, cool. If you love it here, or if you want to, you decide you want to go back to Miami, you want to go to New York, whatever. And so I did. And literally a year later, I get this call, and it was, I got two calls in one day. Okay. I'll never forget. It was a Wednesday. I was going to the gym. And I think the call I got before the gym was from Ebro. And he was basically telling me, it was before it was really announced that he was going to not program anymore. He was like, I want to do mornings and focus on it. And, so the program director gig is going to be open at Hot. And then I get another call after the gym, and this is from Rob Babin, and Rob Babin is one of the most incredible market manager, general managers I've worked with, and he was starting a station down in Miami, and he's like at the top 40 station, and they had just launched it, and he needed some help, and things weren't going completely right or whatever, right? So I had these two opportunities on the plate, plus Boston. I was getting ready to buy a crib in Boston. I'm like, I love Boston. This is cool. So I have these three amazing cities, and mind you, I'm telling you, I love New York, I love Miami, and so long story short, it works out. I moved to shout out Jesse Jazz, yo, let's Jesse. Um, I moved to Miami, and I wanted, I'd never done top 40. I was like, yo, let me do top 40. Like, I love this, and honestly, it was like I wanted to test myself at that time because I was like in Miami, like this station wasn't really set again to win necessarily. It's up against major heritage stations, Power 96. We go against Power 96. We go against Y100, and we're a top 40 station in a market that has these heritage brands. So I'm like, it was kind of like the deck was stacked against us, and so
Right.
underdog situation, and I love it. I guess I'm just like the underdog. I love it. So I love the
Right.
challenge. So I moved down, and that's what got me started. I started as the program director of the top 40 station, Hits 97.3, and then I was, I mean, that was an incredible opportunity because DJ Labs was my morning show. I brought him in, immediately. I started in May of that year. In August, I brought in the on-air team. By December, we were beating our competition. And that's like a super success story because that shit is not easy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And through the years, I mean, it's been, we go back and forth. I mean, now with ratings, but we're a contender right now. So I continued. I guess the story goes like 2 years later. So in 16, I as I normally do. It seems like my career ends up being like this, but I took on the role of program director of 99 Jams as well. So I had Hits 97.3 and 99 Jams, and I had to get my boy Big Mac, who I met in Boston. He was, producer of the morning show and all that there in
Right.
Boston. And so, he and I, we clicked, we vibed. He wanted to learn. His hustle game was heavy. And I was like, oh, Matt, like, I think I'm going to need your help down here. So he brought his, Timberland boot up, hoodie ass down to Miami, never owned a pair of shorts. And, he's helped me out with, with the station. And so,
That's
so I
dope.
had the two. Yeah, yeah, no, he's dope. You can catch him also on, he's with Nick Cannon, Wilding Out on TV, all that. So shout out Big Mac. And then, and so then we just started, and we, at Jams, we just wanted to expand it. And so that brand, with respect to it, I mean, many like amazing people work at 99 Jams. It's heritage. I mean, Khaled like made it, like his thing. I mean, that's like he stamps that still to this day, So that's, I was rocking the two stations, and then got the opportunity to become the director of operations for our entire cluster. And so there's
Right.
4 radio stations in the cluster. We have
Oh.
an AC station, and that station is called EV 93.1. We have a R&B station, so an urban AC station, that's Hot 105. And then, like I said, hits and jams. And so just earlier this year, like July of this year, I hired a program director, Ian, who is now the program director of this top 40 station for me. And Phil Michaels Treba, who, like, again, if you guys remember, back when Party was started, he was the program director there, and he brought me in as his marketing director. And so Phil is actually now, he's programming Hot 105 and ET 93.1 for me. And, and then I have, shout out Tallis. He's my APD at 99 Jams, and Big Mac is still there holding it down with me. He's my music director, and he's doing mornings right now with Trick and Trina Morning Show. So there's so many amazing things happening right now on that station, and, just within my cluster. So it's such an amazing ride.
And people, just so you know, this is how we've always talked ever forever since we were kids. This is
Yes.
what we do. She hasn't lost a thing. You know how to put some words together and just run, and I love
Yeah.
that about you. What are some of the celebrities? If you could name like maybe two celebrities that blew your mind that you were able to kind of meet and maybe even have a conversation. Who are those? Who, if you could pick
Hmm.
two, who are the ones that made
Damn.
the biggest kind of impact on you that you never thought in a million years you'd meet?
Damn. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be hard. I mean, I'm just gonna the first one. I mean, the Quincy Jones conversation that I was telling you
Yeah,
about earlier.
Yeah.
just the history of what Quincy
Right.
Jones had to talk about, like talking about Michael Jackson in the booth and just like crazy. Like that was just a moment I don't think I'll forget, you know.
Yeah.
So that I have to say would be one. But I'm a fan, like I'm a music fan first. So I
Yeah.
don't even know the number two. It's like I have to just put. I mean, meeting. I love Jay-Z. Like just sitting, like you know, very low key. You know, we would go and just. Ebro had, you know, a great relationship with him. So he and I would go, we would sit and just kind of vibe in a very loungy setting where it's just like us. You know what I'm saying? No,
Yeah.
no, you know, people. You know, meeting some of the R&B folks, I mean, that just came through that were new and then they were on the come up that they, you know, now are you know, huge in their game. I mean, kind of being a part of a lot of people's come up was for me, it has to be like one of the best experiences because I just love watching their success. And that goes for artists as well, like hip hop, R&B, as well as my talent and my team. Like I think that's one of the things that for me I found satisfaction. I found like I love helping people go to the levels that they never thought they can, you know, get to before. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, so that's, you know, it's hard to even pick two. I mean, obviously, shout out Khaled. That's my brother because I got to shout him out because he was in Orlando. Like Khaled, you know, when the hitmen were the hitmen, and you had Nasty, Khaled, Caesar, Pro Style was doing his house party vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like this was like some, you know, we all we did was I mean, we were wearing sneakers and stuff back in the day because I guess that was the, you know what I'm saying? Like that was a style. So, but we
Right.
would dance. I would sweat. Like it was like house party vibe styles. Like what was that one club that was like the airplane spot? Do you
Four
remember what I'm talking
pilots.
about?
Four
Yes.
pilots.
Hello. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we knew how to party. Like it was not like post up in the club and look too cute. I mean, we looked cute, listen, hello. But I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like we had so much fun. And you know, Khaled came from that hustle. And, you know, and then we got I mean, Pro Style's doing this thing. He's holding down, you know, radio in New York and
Right.
Nasty. I mean, look at him. Caesar, look at him, you know. So I mean, those are just like that was like what I came from. Like everybody that, you know, I've been trying to talk about. I'm hoping I know I'm forgetting people, but I'm trying to remember along the way as I'm telling the story. But it's just been an incredible freaking ride, man, you know?
Right. And shout out to DJ Laz. I definitely want to get him on
Yeah.
the show because he's one of those first people to be doing Zuma Beach back in the days.
Yes.
Those good old days. He's definitely a part of the city of Orlando.
I will connect you for sure. You'll make that happen. That's good.
Okay. And what I do want to ask you about on another tip is congratulations
Uh-huh.
on the baby.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. He's my little heartbeat. So let me tell you the whole reason. Like you know, I'm on this trip that was supposed to happen next week, but it happened earlier. And so I'm actually in Panama City, sitting in a rental car because my kid's about to go to sleep. I was like, I got to do this thing with Rome, and like I gotta. So I'm running down, rushing. The time zone's different. It's like it's been crazy, but. The journey of motherhood is like one of the best. Like he's like my little dude. I love him. He's just turned 2 on December 3rd. So shout out Devin. But it's been an amazing. I mean, the blessing is him. You know, because for women and it's still a heavy male dominated industry, but I feel like there's a lot of women that are definitely more predominant and more every year. You know, it's like we get we kind of push our way through, and in that ceiling, it's not it's like we're climbing. And but it's hard because a lot of times with women specifically in this industry, I'm loving my journey. Like if we didn't have a time clock, I don't think we would be like, okay, wait, let me make sure I have to time out, make sure that I get this in. But I just, if there's anybody of, that are women in the industry that are listening to this, it's what I say to everyone. It's like, it's possible to do it, but I just say, know in your heart that what you want. Some people don't want to have kids and family and all that. That's totally fine. I knew I wanted to, and I knew that it was like, I'm going to have to make this a thing. Like, I'm going to have to make this in my mind time for it because I was heavy in the streets. I mean, in Miami nightlife, we're going out at 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's like it was different. My life was different.
Right.
So, having this kid is just like I think it's just made me, take time. Like I look at him, it's a little human, and it's like again, it goes back to my team. Like I still like my intensity level is high, my passion is high. So sometimes my expectations are high. So I'm like, I expect, myself to overexceed and I expect my team to overexceed so I can bring them to these levels that they're like, oh shit, look at us here. But Devin,
Right.
my boy, my little boy's taught me like, yo, like a little bit more patience or kindness or just chill out. Like it's like, let's like not, let's enjoy the journey. Let them enjoy the journey, because I think sometimes I want so much and I'm like, I think that's what, he's taught me. And so he's just, I love him. You'll see me post. I'm not too personal on my social, but every now and then, I'll have to post him up a little bit. So
Yeah, I
he's my
think
little
that's
heartbeat.
amazing. Congratulations.
Thank
Uh,
you.
you know, it, I know you'd make a good mom, and so that is completely dope. That's
Thank
happened for
you.
you. So awesome.
Aw,
Um, uh, we got 7 minutes left. I do want to kind of ask you some speedball questions, maybe a couple 1 or 2 word answers. Um,
okay.
you hear all the time that radio is dying. Is that what you feel in 2021, or do you feel radio is just as alive and on a good trajectory moving forward? What do you think?
2020 took radio back. It's about community, like I had started with. It's like if it's about the community, and radio is here for the community, so you can't get it anywhere else. I think it's definitely okay when you have satellite and digital platforms and all that. It's all a space for it. But radio this year really was our time to shine, and we did. I think we did in such a great way. So
Awesome,
with COVID and all of that. So yeah, we're
awesome.
not dead. We keep going.
Right. Do you feel like radio should represent more of the neighborhoods or the cities that they're from?
Yes.
Like that they're in. Do you feel like radio can do better when it comes to full representation of the city? I know Miami does it. That's just off top. But do you feel
No, we
like
all can do better. I mean, Miami. I mean, if you're in Miami, you're going to hear no, we don't do it enough. And, look, my heart. Like I said, I love music. I love helping people get to other levels. I will shout out the show that we're doing in Miami. It's on Sunday nights at 11 p.m. It's called Next Up, and it's all about who's next up, new music, all that. So you can just download the 99 Jams app. It's free, and you can listen every Sunday night. Me and Super Cindy host that. But no, radio can do a better job. I mean, of course, but the business side, and when local artists and I can sit down and I actually have the opportunity to do so, it's I try to explain the business side of radio. I would love to support even more. It's so difficult. That's a whole nother topic and conversation that we can get into one day. But I do think it's important. I think we should support the local guys and help develop them on a national level. But yeah, I mean, if we have the opportunity to do so, and the music's right, they got to play, they got to have some hits. But we do have a lot of really talented people out in these, in different cities, and we should support them on radio.
awesome? That was such a great answer. Do you think uh, do you think concerts, music, and media in general that because we're all part of this like big media, cultural, music, entertainment family? Do
Yeah.
you think we ever see a normal? Um, where things go back to maybe what they were pre-COVID. Do you think? Do you
Mhm.
feel like these things may ever go back?
Man, I think it's going to be a minute. So I think 2021 is going to be, I think for the concert industry and all that. I mean, it's looking like by Q4, maybe the end, like this time, like September, October, that time period of next year. I think it's going to be a minute though. I think it's going to go slow, and I think it will bounce back. And I don't know that anything. Whenever you go through something, tragedy and pandemic is a huge. We've never been through something like this before, but also like the civil unrest and all the craziness that's going on in our world right now. It's like there's a lot that happened in 2020. I think we need a minute, but I think that it was a reset. And if you're spiritual out there, like my spiritual vibe of this whole thing is, we needed to stop, reevaluate our values and everything. So it's like, will concerts and festivals and all that come back? Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that's going to take some time, and but that's a big revenue stream for artists and a lot of people in the industry. So for sure, it'll ease its way back there. But when you got so many people, like you go to these festivals and they're like, these kids, they're like messed up on some type of drugs. It's like, I don't know, maybe this year was to kind of reevaluate what's important, and like not to say we don't party, let's go party, you know what I mean? Like let's like turn up. But I don't know that we really need to have everybody out there getting, wasted and messed up and having that kind of lifestyle anymore.
Well,
I
shout
don't
out
know.
to
We'll see.
DJ Caesar on the check-in. He said,
Caesar,
"What's up?" You already know, Caesar. You already know.
I
Um,
shouted you out, Caesar.
yes, you did. Um, it, you know, last question on that rapid fire. Do you, if what what can what can the world expect from Mrs. Jill Strada in 2021 and beyond? You've done so much already. What
Yeah.
can your Orlando family get prepared to be proud of you for next?
So it's
What do you
funny.
what
I
do you feel
posted up
like?
something and I met this post. It was like the post is basically saying I feel like I'm just getting started. So it's like I did this work, and like I'm here, but I'm totally in a zone of like, yeah, Jill, like what's next? Like what do you want to do? Like how do you want to expand and for myself? So there's gonna be a lot. I feel like because my energy is there right now. So I don't know what it is. I don't know the details of it. But I just feel like my vibe, my energy, like I'm like even I'm on a vision board tip. I do that every now and again, and it's on my on my mind to do that, and just manifesting the next, and my theme it's always been I'm just about my people, so I'm only as great as them, so I need them to be great, so they're a big focus of mine, and 2021 I'm asking everyone to level up, and that goes for all my team members, but anybody that everybody that I have a part of doing with. I say, let's just all like look at this year, say goodbye to it and all the stuff, but take the lessons that we learned from it and let's go, man. 2021, like everybody, like let's just look at all of our life and like say, okay, what's next? Like I want more. I'm just getting started. So here I am now, and now I can only level up from here. And that's my mentality. So I don't know. We're gonna have to do another show, maybe do a year anniversary or something, or sooner. But
Girl,
but
what I'm
anytime I will
saying to
keep you in
you
the
is
loop.
you're always invited on this show. I mean, you got an open invitation. Just
Thank you.
you already know that. That's off rip. But part of the reason why this show, and I talked to you about it in the beginning, was we needed a sound, we needed a voice, we needed a representation from our city in a real way that
Mm,
wasn't so click based, that wasn't so
right.
neighborhood based, that reached out to everyone and said, "Hey, you know what? We're the team. We're Orlando. We're the people. So we need to come together and start having this broader conversation about
Mhm.
not only the past, eh, the present, and to your point, the future of thinking how we can combine. Use this year as a way to combine and make a sound. You know,
Yeah.
to me, Jill Strada is the sound of Orlando. To me,
Ah, thank
and
you.
to a lot of people, you've added to that frequency, that voice, that
Mhm.
sound that came out of here. And I think, like I said, at the end of the day, if nobody else will do it, I'm doing it. At the end of the damn day, you're a part of this story. You're part of this culture that we have. Definitely a part of the hip hop culture.
Thank
And
you.
we need to not only have people like yourself, but continue the conversation. So I'm so honored that you've come on.
Yes.
Um,
Yo,
I
thank
know,
you, Rome.
I
Seriously,
know,
like I'm.
I know that, I know that.
No, but
But
I will say this to you because you're there now. We're talking about next level. Orlando right now, like I have ears to Orlando's music. There's some hot people out there right now in hip hop and Rome. Like, whoever's out, like, let's go because these are people. I definitely want to. I want to support. The show I talked about on Jams. Let's go. I mean, it doesn't have to just be Miami, but I definitely want to support music. So you guys hear the music, share it my way. But there's some people off air of this. We'll talk about it. But there's some really dope people coming out of Orlando right now. So there's a music scene that's there right now currently. So let's talk about it. Let's get these guys up. Up and on a national level, and let's
right.
go.
Right, and I know, this was probably a long overdue introduction over the past years. We haven't talked to each other in so long, but I felt like I just talked to your ass yesterday on Rick's Couch.
Yes.
Because that's who we are.
Right. In his sunken living room. Remember the sunken living room? Yep.
Oh yeah, man, that was your TV Raps den right there.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
you already know.
Ricky,
At
we putting
4
you on
o'clock,
blast.
everybody shut the fuck up. Yo, TV Raps is on.
Yeah.
Yo, that was our life, man. And but yo, I know I can speak for the city, man. We're very proud of you.
Thank you.
You made us all proud. Um, we want you to go further. Continue doing what you're doing.
Yes.
If you need any Orlando representation, holla at your boy. This is the sound of Orlando. We already know that, and
Yes.
you definitely got an open door at any time, Mama. Um,
Thank you.
if there's anything that you could say to the young generation right now, and anybody going through struggles right now, anybody going through the impact of COVID, or maybe
Mhm.
feeling like they're being isolated, alone. What if there's anything that you could say right now? If you have one thing to say, last minute on the planet, what is
That's
that? Go.
You have the power to manifest whatever it is that you want to do. I believe it 100%. I've lived it 100%. You have the power, and in the most loneliest times, COVID, this year has been a very challenging year. Don't let it, get your mind right. Like, just get strong in your mind. Like, say your mantras, pray, whatever you need to do. If you need to meditate, but get your mind right and visualize it. I'm a visualist, and so I will envision myself in the next space. And if you do that, you will be in that next space. So 2021, everyone that's listening right now, let's envision what we're going to be doing and let's do it. 2021 is our year. Let's go.
Well, you heard that. You heard that, Orlando. Stop playing. This is the bomb of the night. She said, "We know what we need to do. Let's do it." And that's how. Shout out to Marielle again on the check-in. Marielle citing the sunken living room. You already know. Yes, yes.
Yes,
So, hey, we love you, Jill, man.
I
Proud of you,
love
man.
you.
Thank you for coming on the show. Hey, hang out on the other side, and I'll wrap
Okay.
the show up. But yes, thank you for coming on the Soul Show.
Thank
You got an
you.
open invite, man.
I,
Anytime.
I appreciate you, Rome. Thank you.
You already know, Mama. Big it up one more time. Jill Scott joining the Soul
Let's
Show.
go,
Show.
show.
Show. Yes. This is what we do, man. We give flowers while people aren't here. Stop playing. Let's go. It is about our city, our story, our sound. You know what time it is. It is time for the Sound of Orlando show outro. Shout out to everybody on the check-in tonight, man. Shout out to Rick. Shout out to Mary L. What up, sis? Haven't seen you in a long time. Shout out to Jesse Jazz. We are sponsored by 5 Star Graphics. Shout out to Big Lou, DJ Caesar. Shout out to everyone that was on the check-in tonight. We love y'all, man. Thanks for tuning in. It's all about the love. It's all about our people, man. The city of the O. We ain't taking it no more. Let's go.